Welcome back to Book Reviews with Alice. Today we are talking about A Touch of Ruin by Scarlett St. Clair. Now, A Touch of Ruin is the second book following up A Touch of Darkness that we talked about on Wednesday of this week. As you can see, I wasn't quite as happy with this one. This, unfortunately, is one of those middle books that really feels like a middle book. And what I mean by that is that while Persephone and Hades are a lot of fun, and I love Hecate and I love the side characters and all the delightful things that happened, there were a couple things in there that just felt unnecessary. So this is going to be one of those reviews where I really delve into the topics of the book themselves. So if you haven't read it, I'll warn you before I go into those. So we'll start with the nice stuff. I love the side characters again. They're all such a blast. Persephone's friends are fantastic. Her mother randomly showing up and throwing nonsense into there is a lot of fun. I love Hermes. He's just such a silly guy, and he's almost like a smart aleck brother, which makes me laugh like so much. I love Hermes to pieces. There needs to be more of him in there, especially when Hades gets mad at him and like tries to smite him. It's really funny. But so I like that aspect of it. I like the other parts of the world that we get to see in this, and I'm really intrigued to see where Hades and Persephone's relationship is going to go in the third book, A Touch of Malice. But some of the things felt a little disjointed, and I think it's a common problem that middle books have, where you're trying to take all the good stuff from book one, but fill in, so like repeat the good stuff of book one, but fill in what you need that's extra or weird or world building or is done to prepare you for book three, and sometimes that can come off as a little bit disjointed. And so there were a few things in here that I don't know whether they're needed for book three or whether they were just thrown in there to make a little bit more action because the plot felt a little slow. So spoilers now, if you haven't read it, you should skedaddle, but if you have not read it, I would recommend it. It's fantastic, it's smutty, it's more on the mythology aspect in that, so if that is your jam, 100% pick up this series. A Touch of Darkness is great, A Touch of Ruin is lovely, and I'm very excited about A Touch of Malice. But if you haven't read it, get out of here so I can complain. Good? You're gone? Fabulous. What I really didn't understand is what was the point of the janitor? Like, I get that he was a demigod and he was obsessed with her and that, but what was the point of that random kidnapping that resolved itself in like the blink of an eye? It was a chapter and it was done. And I'm thinking, what was the purpose of this? For me, all we saw from it was Hades' temper and what he does to Tartarus and that. And I'll be honest, if she's writing Hades' point of view books, why do I need that in a Persephone point of view book? It doesn't make sense to me. You can show us Hades' crazy side in the Hades point of view books, but for Persephone to have this random kidnapping, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it pushed anything forward to me, and I just felt like it was disjointed from everything else that was happening. Like, yes, the friendly janitor and that helped her and ended up being obsessed with her, but it just felt, with the rest of the plot centering around Lexa being ill and dying and Hades trying to help Persephone deal with the grief, but at the same time her just wanting him to fix it and make it better, and then her going against his wishes with Apollo, that whole kidnapping scene, I was just like, what was the point of this? It felt so disjointed. It felt like a whole other story, and I was like, really? So yes, she's vanished again. Hades can't find her again. He sends the Furies. I mean, I liked seeing the Furies. I am fascinated by the Furies. I think they are freaking amazing. So anytime they show up in a mythology works, I am all for it. Love the Furies. They're psycho, and they are gonna smite everyone, and they're gonna go after everybody who betrays people. I love the Furies. They are badass bitches, and they will fuck you up. Seriously. But because of that, that just made this whole kidnapping thing feel pointless to me. So unless something comes from that demigod's father later, and that might have been the setup for it, that him smiting him gets like Zeus angry at him or whatever, and I mean, that could have been the ashes at the end. But if it doesn't, like if that did not spark the war that's coming or whatever, there was no point in it. And it drives me crazy because it just didn't feel like it was set up enough or hinted at enough in that. So like, yeah, she got one letter, but it was so glanced over. There should have been more than just like a single flower or that kind of thing. It should have been like maybe showing up at her house or just something extra beyond that, because it just didn't feel enough to have him there. But that's my big beef with it. Everything else was lovely. I love the writing. Like I said before, it's not Shakespeare. It's not trying to be Shakespeare. If you like smutty romance with mythology twists, that's your jam. That's what this is. Read it. It's lovely. I'm very excited to read A Touch of Malice, and not just because if you cover the M, it's my name. I like when my name appears on things. But yeah, so if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so that you can join me on my rants when things annoy me in books. So yeah, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.